Here we go. The Rambam, Hilchos Talmud Torah. Chayev halacha b'gimel. Right, we did already. Everybody has a who's mother, and a person has to teach his son and his grandson and everyone. Even though they're not his children. And the only reason it says son is to give the order. And there's a chiyav even to pay for it. To pay for a teacher. Where do we know this from? So, Baba Basra, we learned it this year. Rabbi quotes from Rabbi Yeshua ben Gamla. He was the one that made the first yeshiva in history. Chaf Aleph, if you remember, back in the second parak. Chaf Aleph, Amad Aleph, Yeshua ben Gamla, Zachur Oso Ha'ish Latov. He has the concept that, if the father is not able enough, then maybe yeshiva. Again, the Rebbe could try to give the father, abilities. I just got yesterday. I got a call from the OU. What the OU is doing for Shavuos, since many people are going to be in their homes for Shavuos, it looks like, and not in the shul. So not everybody is able to learn all night or to teach all night. So they asked like a bunch of different speakers to make up sheets and then give a 5-minute video about how to give over the information and how to give over. So to give over as if the father or the brother, whoever it is, would be able to share with his family, that year. So that's, because you're giving over the ability. Like Yeshua ben Gamla said, well, send them to the yeshiva. In our case, it might not be able to be done. You have to send the yeshiva to the houses. So that's what, give my notes, give the makaras, give the notes, and in that way, hopefully everybody will be able to share and learn Torah. But here it is. You have to pay for it also. I have liskar malami libno ulalamdo. To pay for a teacher. There's a chiyuv. Not just a good idea. Obligation, right? That's why you can't use ma'aser ksafim money to send your son to yeshiva. The amount that it costs him to go, not the part that you pay above to help scholarships for other people, but the part that you pay basic expenses for the yeshiva. That's an obligation, and therefore one is not allowed to use ma'aser money for that. We discussed that. To teach your friend's son, you could do that for money. That's not for free. If somebody asked me to tutor, Mishalo, fine. Mishalo limdo aviv chayev olamed esatzmo kishayakir. If somebody never was taught at a younger age, there's no excuse. Once I recognize that, learning Torah is a central part of Judaism, my father didn't take care of it. I do it for myself. Kishayakir, when he recognizes that this is a serious part of Judaism. We have to do mitzvos. In order to do mitzvos, we have to learn in order to know what to do. So therefore, once I grow up and I have a chiyuv to do, I have a chiyuv to learn. Talmud learning comes before action. There's a Gemara about that, which is greater. Learning your actions, and the Rambam's Girsa at least must be that Talmud comes first because that leads to Maisa. And therefore, again, there's as someone goes through life, we can't look at ourselves and feel bad or look and say, well, I didn't have this upbringing, I didn't have this background. Rabbi Akiva was 40 years old. Remember, he saw the water falling on the rock, and he said, okay, I have to do this. He could have said, what do you mean? Nobody taught me. I'm 40. Okay, I'll be a good Amaretz. I'll go to some shiurim. No, Rabbi Akiva said, I can do more than that. And his wife told him, I can do more than that. Right, and that's the Rambam here. He has to teach himself when he recognizes it. Also interesting, the language that the Rambam uses, we spoke about already, that the language in the Torah, it never says in the Torah you have to learn. It says you have to teach. That's the formulation of the mitzvah. What does the Rambam here say? Even if somebody is older and he never had the chance, what does he have to do? He has to start learning. No, it doesn't say that. You have to teach yourself. Even in the Rambam, the formulation is teaching. It's not about learning. It's fascinating. It's not about when I'm learning something. Whenever we learn something, even privately, we have to look at it as I'm teaching myself. I'm not learning. Because Torah is always a teachable commodity. So I'm teaching myself. That's how the Rambam formulates the halacha. We'll see that the next time also in halacha daled. But interesting to think about why that is. Teaching is always an active, involving two people maybe. here, even by himself, involving me, but there's activity, there's transition, there's information passing. It's a teaching activity, not just like reading. Read a book, you read a book, okay. That's so active. You could read a book on the couch. Could you learn on the couch? Could you learn on the couch on a Friday night? Maybe there's a chiluk. There's Friday night and the rest of the week. Friday night, there's definitely not too much learning going on the couch. And if you want to roes hanolad, then you for sure don't go to that couch because there's a black hole there that many times you don't get out from. But even during the week, when I have a sefer relaxing on the couch, am I reading the sefer? Am I learning the sefer? Or am I teaching myself the sefer? Teaching myself the sefer is a little different. There's more action that's involved. There's more effort involved. And therefore, we can look at it. Maybe that's what's being alluded to in all the formulations about teaching and not just learning myself. I'm going to say that in the next halacha also. Let's just do one more quickly. Halacha daled hayahu lilmod Torah v'yesh lo ben lilmod Torah. What if you only have enough money for one tutor, for you or for your son? Who called them? No, he comes first because his son will get his own tutor when he gets older. What if his son is really a genius, a gon, the next gadol ador, and the son comes first? Your son is really amazing. But even if your son is going to get kima, doesn't mean that you don't have to learn anything. Here's the lesson again. So just like you have a chiyuv to teach your son, you have a chiyuv to teach yourself. The same lashon is all in the formulation of teaching. Teaching. Again, some of it he mentions the word lilmod. We had in halacha aleph. The women is pater surah because it's not mechuyev lilmod, it's not mechayev l'lamed. He does mention learning, but very often he also mentions the idea of teaching oneself. That's very interesting to think about. Okay, back to Yerushas Habaal. Okay, let's change our headgear from Hilchas Talmud Torah to Hilchas Nochlin and Yerushas Habaal. And we have some fascinating inyanim today. Everybody here just looking around? Dove here? I didn't see Dove. No. Okay. But again, I hope to see everybody tonight at the 10 o'clock of the gym, unless you have a different coverage, but hope to see you then. So we're talking about Yerushas Habaal. We had a lot of introductory thoughts. We talk about different Gemaras. What impression do you get? Different sources in the Gemara. Gemara in Arachin Daf Chaf Hey, which we said maybe is the secret to the entire topic. Hold on. Yeah. Wow, look at this. Hananya just came home from Archug. Amazing. I'm showing everybody. He drew this. Amazing. They're all screaming. They're just on mute.
Beautiful.
Amazing job, Hananya. Amazing. Thank you. Amazing. I'm so glad you had it. Okay, I'll give you a share. Close the door. Okay. Hopefully my son will remember that I stopped shir to appreciate his painting. Okay. So the Gemara in Arachin on Daf Chaf Hey, who tells us Rabbi Zera Safek, right? Who is Kam Tachazav? Let's just review that Gemara for a minute because we're going to have to come back to that in depth today. Remember that Gemara, Rabbi Zera had the Safek. Who is Mamid for the woman? The woman is Makdish a field. And if she doesn't redeem it, so then it's going to go to Yovel. And it's going to go to the Kohanim Yovel if she doesn't redeem it. But if her son redeems it, then it's going to go back to her. If anybody else buys it, then it's not going to go back to her. What about if the husband? If the husband buys it, is that Ke'ilu she bought it? Or is it like someone else? Or is it like an acher? Only she or her son who is kam tachtav. What about her husband? So the Gemara has a teku, the Rambam quotes a suffix. We saw the Kesef Mishnah wonders why is there only a suffix by the father? Why is there only a suffix by the husband and not by the son? Right? It's the same suffix. So maybe the Rambam had a different girsa. But either way, what's the Rekuta there? We said maybe it's probably on our issues, but we ended off with the Lechem Mishna's Kasha, which we'll have to come back to. According to the Rambam, Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan. If it's the Rabbanan, so how in the world could the son, the husband, not be an acher? On a daraisa level, the husband gets nothing. So how can you say if he buys it back, but it's going to have important significance. So we'll have to come back to that a little bit later. Fine. So we then laid out the Chakira in the last year about how do we look at Yerushas Habaal. We gave two approaches. We still have to wait to give a third. What were the two approaches? Either a simple one. I'm not sure which is more simple. I take that back. You could decide. One is either you're right. The husband has to do something. He has to get married. But maybe once he gets married, it's Yerusha. Once he gets married, it's just like all other Yarshim taking money. He's not a blood relative. That's true, but it's Yerusha, and therefore any differences you'd have to minimize. Like, why is there no mishmush? Right? We have to say, okay, because he's only a karov, when he's alive. Right? Why is there no roi? We're gonna have to come back to that also. Hashem. Why does he only get what the woman has when she dies, not what she's owed? All other Yarshim get roi, except Bechor in his extra piece. So why is that? So we'll have to explain that. But now we saw with the language of the Ran. The Ran in Ksubis said, and there's other Rishonim, that the Baal's Yaresh, it's Yerusha. And any differences, will minimize and has to be explained. But we said maybe there's a totally different approach that we could have also. And that is, somebody remind me, what was that, Daya? I'm talking too much. What was the other approach? Levi, Eli, who's going to say? Naftali?
Basar Echad.
Basar Echad. Basar Echad. She'eris. That's the language of Tosfos, right? Tosfos said it. Remember? Kuf Yud Gimel. Kuf Yud Gimel Amid Aleph. Tosfos said, Machmas She'eris. Right? She'er Basar. They're one. They're unified. Why does the husband yarshin the wife? Because he's connected to the wife. Because he's one with the wife. Right? And that's a totally different mechanism. It's called Yerushas Habaal. But the mechanism is not Yerusha. The mechanism is a unique mechanism called She'eris. And that's why there's no mishmush. Because it's not Yerusha. Mishmush is a function of Yerusha. And that's why there's no roi. It's a special thing that happens right when the woman dies. Right? According to this, we mentioned that maybe it's even going in the opposite direction than regular Yerusha. By regular Yerusha, right when the death happens, boom, the person is really strong. It's an even stronger claim. Here, the opposite. The Baal kind of gets less connected when the woman dies. It's just that they're joint. So when she dies, then he expands. And he takes everything over. He's the only basar that's left. But it's she'er basar, and it's they're connected to each other. He is not a yoresh. He is someone who gets it because he's she'er basar. But halachically, he is not a yoresh. Just related to this, we said maybe, I didn't emphasize this, I just want to point out one more thing about this that I forgot to mention last time. The machlokes between Rashi and the Ramban in Precious on the Hayul Basar Echad. Right, again, I mentioned this, these 2 minutes are used in Sheva Brachas. The Hayul Basar Echad. They are like one flesh. What does that mean? So Rashi, there, I think in Perak Beis Pasuk Chavdalid, Rashi says, Basar Echad, Avlad HaNotzar Al Yidei Shnehem. What is the special bracha that Hashem is giving to a man and woman? That they could have a baby. Avlad Notzar. That's the Basar Echad. Ask the Ramban on Rashi. That's not something unique to humans. Even animals have offspring. So why is that Basar Echad? And Basar Echad, that's what, remember the Ramban, the Rashbam quoted Basar Echad on our daf, right, where we're up to, on Kuf Tesla base. Rashbam quoted Basar Echad. What does the Ramban say? Basar Echad means the relationship. Meaning it's contrast from Rashi. According to Rashi, Basar Echad is about kids. According to Ramban, Basar Echad is just about the husband and the wife. About the man and the woman. Emphasizing the uniqueness of this relationship. That fits in very nicely with the approach of She'eris. Again, it's not about children. Children, you get into the world of Yerusha. No, this is something unique and different. Husband and wife are connected. Not connected to their children. They are connected, but the unique connection is between the husband and the wife. Again, the Ramban is saying it in a hashkafic context. I should say in an agadik. The Ramban is saying it in an agadik context on the pasuk. We're using this in a halachic context. She'er basar, the husband and the wife are connected, and that's why the Yerusha goes to the husband. And we mentioned, just finishing off the Chazara, this is why this could be suffix in the Gemara in Arach and Daf Kafeh, right? This is the secret. What are they asking? Is the husband a stand-in or not? Is he a Yoresh? According to our Gersa, is he a Yoresh or is the son the Yoresh? So what's that suffix? So if you say that the husband is stronger, say the husband is stronger than the son, somebody mentioned this the first day, it could be because of She'er. When the Gemara says Yoresh there, what it means unique type of Yerusha. She'er Basar. That's how the husband can stand in for the wife. He's not called an Acher for Shtei Achusa because he's half the wife. It's even more than the son. Right? Or do we say, no, the son is Kam Tachta. The husband, that's just regular Yerusha. So those two tzadim in the Gemara could exactly be about this issue, about what is the root of Yerushas, Habaal. And even according to the Kesef Mishas gear, so we mentioned, does it work for the husband or not? Again, it could be the same issue. So that is all we did so far. Two approaches to Yerushas Habaal. And maybe there's a third idea. Maybe there's a third idea, which hopefully you saw some of the sources. Let's get into the world of Manda Amar Yerushas Habaal D'Rabbanan. If I say Yerushas Habaal is D'Rabbanan, so then what approach do I say? How do you look at that? The Rabbanan said that the husband yarshins the wife, meaning let's say the wife is a second marriage. Let's say the wife has kids from a previous marriage, and the husband marries her. So who's going to get it? Who's going to yarshin the wife? Her children or her husband? So the Chachamim say, Baal Yoresh is Ishto. All those psukim are an asmachta, or all those psukim are midrabanan. What kind of din is it if it's a din d'Rabbanan? So this is where I had you look at the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah, the Beis Shmuel, and the Avnei Miluim. What was the halacha of the Beis Shmuel? Who saw the halacha? He quoted from the Rif and the Rambam towards the end. What's the Avnei Miluim commenting on? Who saw that Beis Shmuel? Wants to share some words. Who's got it? Someone want to say? I got a hand. Do you remember? No, let me just say
that they have to be married in order for him to be Yoresher. But if they are not considered married, if the marriage is broken up even Suffolk Erishin, that he is not Yoresher.
Well, now we're going to get to something. This isn't exactly Suffolk, but maybe it's connected. Maybe this is what you mean. The Beis Shmuel discusses, what if there's a fight? There's Mored. That's the Siman Ayin Zayin in Eben Ezer. It's about Mored. That's about the rebellious husband, the rebellious wife. Right? They each choose. They say, I'm not fulfilling my marital obligations. That's grounds for divorce. Right? If a husband or wife says, I'm not fulfilling my physical, conjugal right, grounds for divorce. So the Ramah, and talks about if the husband refuses, you have to add on to the ksuba every day. So the Ramah there says, he wants to divorce her right away, so he won't have to, the ksuba won't go up, then he can. Then he can. He has said comments the Beis Shmuel, what happens if he decides to divorce his wife? And he gets time. In case a man is about to divorce his wife, and before he gets to divorce his wife dies. His wife dies, Rahman al-Islam. What's the halacha? He's about to divorce his wife dies. Says the Beis Shmuel, he yarshins her. Doesn't sound fair. Doesn't sound right. They're married. Until they're divorced, they're married. So in Mesa Kodim Shagiresh Yoresh Osa, the Lopaka Yerushas Habaal Ela Begerish and Gemurin. Yerushas Habaal only is uprooted by Gerish and Gemurin. L'chara mashma, he said, the guy Mumari Yoresh Osa. Even if he's causing the divorce, he's refusing to sleep with his wife, to be with his wife. He has to divorce her. The Beis Shmuel said it sounds like when until the divorce happens, the dinim stay still. He yarshins her when she dies, even if he's planning to divorce her. That's the Beis Shmuel, quoting these Rishonim. Says the Avnei Miluim, says the Ksos. Remember the Ksos? The three major works of the Ksos, Rabbi Yeleba Kohen Heller. The Ksos, Hachoshen Mishpat, the Avnei Miluim on Eben Ezer, and the Shev Shmaitza 7 sugi is all about rove and chazaka and those issues, which he wrote when he was about 19 years old. So I'm waiting for everybody's shmeises, Beth Hashem, give you a bracha. But anyway, so says the Avnei Miluim. He says, I don't think this is according to everybody. That if she dies in the middle, he's still yarshins her. No. If you say Yerushas Habaal is doraisa, then fine. And then you could say that he's going to yarshin her because they're still married. Yavi doraisa d'Rabbanan. Flahani Ravasa that's really David doraisa, but afla mishera v'yarashosa. Kivan adayin lo nizkarsha she'ero karinan ba. Very yarsha b'doras karov. They're still, if it's daraisa, then fine, they're married, and he's going to get it. It's a function of the marriage. Ula, and here's the key line for us now. Ula hanach poskin desfirle David d'Rabbanan. But if you say, says the Avnei Miluim, if you say that Yerushas Habaal is only d'Rabbanan, so then I would say he doesn't get it in this case. When he is planning on divorcing her, and she dies, he does not get a Yerusha. What do you mean? They're still married. No, Yerushas Habaal is d'Rabbanan. Campaign Eno ela mishum inyane ishus. There's the line. Ein ela mishum inyane ishus. Yerusha is a function of the marriage. It's one of the rights and responsibilities of the marriage. Zechuse ishus, we'll call it. Zechuse ishus. Again, this is in the world of D'Rabbanan, but it's a third idea. Number one, we had Yerusha Mamish. Number two, we had She'eris. Number three, it's a zechus of marriage. There's a lot of zechuyos and obligations of marriage, right? He has to support her, mizonos. He has to clothe her, mitzia, matzah yadayim, her earnings, and all different in both directions. Some things he has to go to her, some things she has to go to him. This is one of those. Yerushas Habaal is zechuse ishus. If that's true, you know what? Says the Avnei Miluim. Here, he's not acting like a husband. Zechuse ishus already paka. If he's rebelling, then it's possible, doesn't say for sure, it's possible that it's not going to work here, and therefore he wouldn't yarshin her in this case. But what do you see from the Ksos? The Ksos says that if you say that Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan, so then that means it's a zechus of ishus. And just 1 second, this could fit in also well with the Rambam. The Rambam in Ilchas Ishus. I hope you got to see it. The Rambam, how he groups when he talked about Yerusha, not in Ilchas Nachlos, but in Ilchas Ishus. When the Rambam discusses Nachlos in Perek Yud Beis and Ilchas Ishus, how does the Rambam start off Perek Yud Beis? He talks about these are the rights and responsibilities of a husband and a wife. Perek Yud Beis. Kishenose Adam Isha. Bein Besula. Bein Beula. I'll take the question over in a second. Bein Gedola Bein Kana. When a man gets married, doesn't matter who. Then what happens? Yischayiv la batzara dvarim. The man, the husband is chayiv in 10 things. The Yizkep arba dvarim. And he's zoche in 4 things. The man has 10 obligations, and the husband, and the man has 10 obligations and 4 privileges. And 4 zechuyos. What are the 10 obligations? She'er, ksus, he has to give her physical responsibilities, obligations, and clothing, and others, mizonos, and others. 7, 3 are daraisa. She'er, ksus, 7 midirabanan. What is that? Iker ksuba, so 7 ksuba. He has to heal her, he has to redeem her, he has to bury her. All the obligations that the husband has. Go through all of them. And then he says, and there are 4 that are privileges of his. What are those? Number 1, he gets her earnings. If she finds anything, it goes to him. Property that she brought into the marriage, he gets. Last one, if she dies, he yarshins her. There it is. It's pretty clear that the Rambam is holding like the Avnei Miluim understood. Yerushas Habaal is part of the zechuyos of marriage. It's not she'eris, it's not, which is a daraisa concept, not even Yerusha per se. Right? It's the zechus of a marriage. It's a monetary right, the monetary right that the husband has. You know that from how the Rambam says it, and you also know it from where the Rambam says it. The Rambam puts this in Ilchas Ishus. This is the Ilchas Ishus that shows it's an Ishus halacha. And that is why the Rambam seems to be a smach, that understanding of the Avnei Iluim. Yes, Avram.
Do we see that by any of the other zechusim that the husband gets, that if he does certain things, then he loses his rights to it?
Yeah, it could be that it's a package. The Gemara talks about in Ksubis. We're not doing it now, but if you look around, Mem Vav Mem Beis in Ksubis is the Mishnah that talks about these obligations. But if you look, Mem Vav Mem Zayim Mem Ches, it talks about some of the rights are parallel to the obligations. And if he doesn't fulfill an obligation, then he loses the right. So we do find that. We do find that. Oh, good. So if we stop here, we might say, okay, yeah, it's never Pashut. If it's Yerushas of Al's Drabanan, then obviously it's a Schutz Ishus. It's not so clear that that's true according to everybody. Because there's a fascinating ha'ara. And Tosfos says it, derech agav, and you don't catch it unless you're focusing on our sugya. But Tosfos in Masechet Ksubis. Tosfos in Masechet Ksubis on Daf Nun Vav. Well, let me ask you: is there any other way to look at Yerushas Habaal if you hold this to Rabbanan besides the schus of the schus Ishus? Is there any other more fundamental way to formulate it? I think it's a right that he has. Again, it's all the Rabbanan. But is there any other way to formulate the right of the husband in Yerushas Habaal, Yerushas Ishto? Yarshin sir, because he has a monetary right. It's a monetary privilege. What's another way to formulate it? He gets the Yarshin because. Or who's talking? Somebody said something?
Because maybe like with Ava, just like he gets the Mazonas or the Messiah, he also gets the Yarshner. Possible Ava.
I think so. That's putting it with the other.
The Nechse Malug?
What?
Nechse Malug, maybe?
I mean, Nechse Malug is one of the rights also that he has. Yes, those are one of the rights. Right? It could be Midrabanan. Well, I'm not going to say it. Let's see this Tosfos. Let's see this Tosfos first, but I gave you two Tosfos to do. First Tosfos in Ksubis, Nun Vav Amebeis. Nun Vav Amebeis. Tosfos is not about our topic, but Tosfos brings in our topic as a derech agav. Tosfos Nun Vav Amebeis. Again, as we've had before, I would have more involved than have guys reading stuff, live. To Zoom, it's a little harder. But Tosfos there is talking about Ksuba Daraisa, Ksuba Darabanan. Right, that's a Machlokas Tanoim. Whether the Chi of Ksuba is Daraisa Darabanan. So we hold according to most Ksuba Darabanan. Tosfos holds. The Gemara has a line there. Sava Rabbi Meir Ksuba Daraisa. Rabbi Meir holds Ksuba is Daraisa. Says the Gemara. We're talking about Afagad the Ksuba Almana Darabanan. The context of that Gemara is about a Ksuba of an Almana. The Ksuba of an Almana is Darabanan. That could the Gemara call it Daraisa. Ikomakom Iker Ksuba Daraisa. If something at root is Daraisa, even if this specific application is Darabanan, the Gemara could still call it Daraisa. Iker Ksuba Daraisa. Again, even if something is Darabanan, actually, but if the root of the halacha, the ikar of the halacha is daraisa, the Gemara can still call it daraisa, even if this application is the Rabbanan. And where do we see that? Tosfos quotes from Truma. There's a Gemara in Yevamis that says Truma daraisa. What do you mean? Truma bisman hazeh. Truma bisman hazeh is Rabbanan. We don't have full Kshasaris for Truma. So the Gemara Tosfos explains ikar Truma is daraisa. Truma could be in a daraisa category because at root it's a daraisa. It's not a totally new concept. So ksub is daraisa for psula, so that's why even by Amana the Gemara call it daraisa. Truma is daraisa at root. Even if it's manazeh, you could call it darabanan. Then Tosfos says Gemara ksubis that we've seen before in Daf Gimel. Tosfos says, what about the Gemara says Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan? Ksubis Pei Gimel. The Gemara says Yerush Habaal is the Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan gave the halacha a lot of strength. Not getting into the details. Why? Tosfos asks, why did the Gemara say there, Iker Yerushas Daraisa? Yerushas Habal's Darabana. Why? The Gemara could have called it Daraisa. Because the Iker of Yerushas Daraisa. Yes, Tosfos. Matzarach lahai taima. Afilu lo asu chizuk l'devrayim. Tepek lemishim te Iker Yerushas Daraisa. Just like you can say Iker Trum is Daraisa, and Iker Tub is Daraisa, Iker Yerushas Daraisa. Why did the Gemara say that by Yerushas Habaal? Fine, here's this application of Yerushas Darabanan. Why didn't the Gemara call it Daraisa? Look at Tosfos' line. Yeish lomar. Lo damya Yerushas Habaal l'shar Yerushos. Jebos machmas kurva. Tosfos says, Yerushas Habaal does not have at its root Yerusha. Yerushas Habaal Darabanan has nothing to do with Yerusha Daraisa. Wow. Meaning, Yerushas Habaal, we would Torah. It's not like Truma. It's not like Truma Bismanazeh, which has it connected to Truma Daraisa. It's not like a Ksuba, which even if you're Rabbanon by Almana, it's Daraisa by Psula. Says Tosfos, it's unbelievable. Tosfos says, if you hold Yerushas Habaal's Rabbanon, it has nothing to do with the Yerusha in the Torah. You would not call it. You would call it Ein Iker Min HaTorah. You have to just realize the context Tosfos is saying this in. And therefore, Yerushas Habaal is called Ein Lo Iker Min HaTorah. That Tosfos fits in very nicely for the Avnei Miluim, for the Rambam. Because again, what's Yerushas Habaal? It's just a right of the husband for marriage. He's not a Yoresh. It's not Yerusha. It's not patterned after Yerusha. No. It's something, it's a right that he has. That's something very different than regular Yerusha. So far, that's all works. Right? Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan, and it has nothing to do with regular Yerusha. It's just a monetary right that the husband has. This, though, is not the end of the story. Because if you look in the other Tosfos I gave, you get a different impression. Again, it's a long Tosfos, and we're not doing the whole thing, but I gave you Tosfos here in Baba Basra, Mem Pesam Beis. It's the iceberg Tosfos. You only see the end of it on the dot. Says Tosfos, Mem Pesam Beis. It starts on Amar Aleph. We don't have to do the whole Tosfos. We just take out a line from Tosfos that we need. Tosfos is there. Tosfos is discussing the right of the husband for peiros, which is certain types of yusufruct, certain types of he's allowed to eat some of the fruits that the woman brings in, the trees, but Yerusha is different. And it has Tosfos. Tosfos, right about the fourth skinny line. The question is the fourth skinny line on Mem Pesma Beis in Tosfos, Yom Tomer. Right, Tosfos asked, what's the difference between Yerushas Habaal, Rabbanan, and peiros? Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan, and he said you can't do B'Nasalik. We're not getting into the context. But look at Tosfos' answer. Tosfos has two answers. Be mechalik between peiros, the right of the husband getting to eat the fruit of his wife's property, and Yerusha. So he gives one answer. Look at the second answer. First wide line. V'od matzina l'meimar. V'lo asu chizuk. Ela b'davar sheyesh lo shorish min haTorah. Kigon Yerusha. V'ika Yerusha daraisa. Says Tosfos, Yerushas Habaal is stronger than peiros, meaning the right that he has to eat fruit from a field that she brought into the marriage. Why? Because at root, Yerusha's daraisa. Whoa! Exactly the opposite of what Tosfos said in Ksubis. Tosfos in Ksubis said that Yerusha's Habaal has nothing to do with Yerusha, and therefore it's called Ein Lo Iker Min HaTorah. What does this Tosfos say? No, Yerushas Habaal, that's strong. Yeish Lo Shoresh Min HaTorah. Again, is there a difference between Iker and Shoresh? I'm not being machalik. The Rabbanan were asu chizik is something that has a Shoresh min Torah. You go in Yerusha. What does that mean? Maybe this Tosfos is alluding to a different idea. Even if you say, everybody with me? Yosef, Yedidya, Naphtali, Levi, Yehuda, Aaron, Eli, Eli, Natano, Shlomo, Eli, Avram. I always said my own name. Ephraim, Yaakov, Mikey, Zakkai, Dov. Okay, got everybody. Said, maybe this Tosfos is saying that Midrabanan, Rabbanan gave the husband a status of Yoresh. Like approach number 1 in the Daraisa. Right? We said in the Daraisa, we said Yoresh, Sheirus, Rabbanan, Zechusa, Ishus. No. The fourth idea is really the first idea. Maybe Midrabanan. It's not just the Zechus of marriage. It gave the husband the status of the Yoresh Midrabanan. Right? We have this in other contexts. There's Gili Arayas. There's Arayas Midaraisa. There's also Shnios La'arayas. They're Erva Midrabanan. Rabbanan expanded the category of Erva. It's Erva Midrabanan. So too, this is Yerusha. He's a Yoresh Midrabanan. Right? We have that by other areas, right? Ma'acholas Asuros. Right? Ma'acholas Asuros Drabanan. Right? We have chicken and meat. What is that? That's Ma'acholas Asuros Midrabanan. So too, maybe by even in the Drabanan world, how could Tosfos say Yerushas Habaal is Yeish Iker min Torah? Right? It's nothing to do with Yerusha. Maybe it does. Maybe it has that status. Maybe it has that status, Yoresh. If this is true, then maybe we should get back to that Rambam that we asked earlier. The Rambam we asked the Lechem Mishnas Kasha. Lechem Mishnas Kasha. What was the Lechem Mishnas Kasha? Remind me, right? If you hold Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan, so therefore what? Naphtali, yeah, you're about to say?
Then why does he ever win out over the Kohanim? Because the Kohanim get it midoraisa from the wife.
Right. If Yerushas Habaal is the Rabbanan, so then how could you ever say that he's called her? He's an acher. Midoraisa, he gets nothing. He's an acher. So says I gave you the Merkeves. I put it on the chat, the Merkeves HaMishnah. Again, you can say a Shechianu if you've never done a Merkeves HaMishnah. It's one of the classic commentaries on the Rambam from the 1700s, 1716 till 1811 or something. I don't. Anyway, so the Merkeves, it's not in the Sefer. It's a separate set of Svarim. The Merkeves HaMishnah. It says the Merkeves HaMishnah. I was very excited when I saw this. It's still a Chiddush, but maybe the Rambam is telling you that they gave the father the status of a Yoresh Midrabanan. Not just that he gets it. But what was our kasha? Mishnah. What do you mean? Midrabanan, he doesn't get it. The Midrabanan, how can you say that? He's going to be a stand-in for her. He's an acher. No, the Rabbanan have the power to redefine. The Rabbanan have the power to redefine, even on a Daraisa level, to say somebody is not an acher. You're right. He's only going to get it midrabanan. But they have this ability to change that status even on a Daraisa level. That's his lashon. Afilu l'didan tekayimel on Yerushas Habaal d'Rabbanan. Ikal sefuke ikacher dami. Kiva detiknu chazal d'Habaal d'hefker bez an hefker. Since they gave it to him in Dini Maminis, Mamela, here's the lashon, lav acher mikri. He's not called an acher. Even the royal Yarshal, the Maisa, he's going to be the Yoresh. So therefore, he's not called an acher. And that idea only works if you say that Midrabanan needs a Yoresh. If you just say that he's going to get his chus mamon, it's much harder. It's not impossible. It's much harder. Again, I don't know if the Merkeves HaMishnah is saying this. I'm just adding to his words. All he said was that because the husband's going to get it, so he's not an acher. I'm adding that it works much better if you say that the husband's a real stand-in for her. He's a Yoresh. He's not just getting her money. Because Lamaisa, he shouldn't get her money midaraisa. It's about changing statuses on a daraisa level. Then it would work much better if he is a yoresh on a daraisa level. Okay. Is this, and this is what I added in the past couple, I gave you some other marmakomos. This is a tremendous chiddush, what the Merkavitz HaMishnah says. In Shad of the Rambam. Again, it's the Rambam. The Rambam is saying that, Yaakov, I'll take your question in 10 seconds. The Rambam is saying that because the Rabbanan said that he could get it, that he buys land back, it's as if she bought the land back. On a daraisa level, the Rabbanan have the power to change that, to affect, not change. The Rabbanan have the power to affect daraisa status. Is this a davar pashut? We have other examples where the Rabbanan are affecting daraisas in terms of the status. Yeah, Yaakov.
The only other time we see someone being quoted a sefuza is with the ban instead of the app. And presumably, if we're going to say that this would be similar, would we also have to say kontaktiv for the wife, because
Yes.
any other Yerusha for the daughter wouldn't work?
Correct. Sure. I would think you'd have to say a kontaktiv type of idea. Sure, because the other Yershim aren't good enough. Yeah. You say he's as strong as the son, it would have to be a kontaktiv idea. But again, he's the most special Yoresh, right? You can say he's a She'er, right? She'er Basar, that type of a Yoresh. So I gave you two other, or really three altogether, a couple of other examples where the Rabbanan affect daraisas, but maybe we'll do all of them today. Let's try. But I want you to think about which one is really a parallel, and whether this is going, our case is going beyond. Yeah, Yonatan. Yonatan on Yehuda's phone.
Yeah. Is Rabbi saying that the Merkavitz HaMishnah is explaining that the Rabbanan are putting the Baal on a Deoraisa level? Because they can't really put him on an equivalent of a Deoraisa level.
That's what he seems to be doing. Because Lamaisa, they affect the money, so that affects the status. Because the context of the Rambam in the Gemara is a Deoraisa status. Yes. So our question is, what we're going to deal with right now is, how could they do that? Do we ever have any models for that?
So if one eats chicken and then some milk after, whatever, they're over on a Deoraisa.
So that's a separate sugya. That's lo sasur. The Rambam says every time you affected the Rabbanan and affected the Daraisa. You know what? Hold off on your question because I think you're getting to something that we're going to talk about. So I wanted two other examples where we find this. Let's think about whether these are exactly parallel, and therefore the Merkavitz HaMishnah is not such a great chiddush, or whether he's going beyond these examples. I give you one example, the Mishnah in Sukkah. Whenever there's a shear, I'm sure whenever you will, Bez Hashem, hear many shiurim in your life about the Rabbanan affecting daraisas, probably the first two sources or the next two sources. The Mishnah in Masechet Sukkah. The Mishnah in Sukkah says there's a certain type of sukkah that's pasul midrabanan. Okay, it's pasul midrabanan without getting the details. Chaf ches amid al is the Mishnah. But that Mishnah is quoted in Sukkah on Daf Gimel. The Mishnah is on Daf Ches. But the Mishnah is about, let's say, the sukkah is, right, it's a double machlokas, right? A big sukkah, a small sukkah. What happens, let's say this case, the case that Tosfos is talking about, on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph, somebody is sitting outside their sukkah. You know what, let's do the other one, that's clearer. We just read it inside. The Mishnah here, Chaf Ches Amud Aleph. Mishahaya, that's the first case. Okay, that's the case that's up. The Gemara says they're arguing about both. Somebody is Rosh Aruba B'Sukkah B'Shulchan B'Toch Habayis. Somebody's sitting in the sukkah, but his table is outside the sukkah. Is that okay? And you reach outside and you eat and you get your food and you sit inside the sukkah. So there's a worry that you might take your soup and eat outside the sukkah without taking it back in. Beis Shammai says we're nervous. Beis Hillel says we're not nervous. Fine. But the Gemara then says, what about if you have a sukkah that could only fit you, but not your table? Is that a kosher sukkah? It's 7 by 7. which is the minimum size. Beis Shammai says no good. Pasul sukkah mid'Rabbanan. Mid'Rabbanan it's pasul, says Beis Shammai. Why? Because we're nervous that you might eat outside the sukkah. You might lean out and eat outside the sukkah. Beis Shammai says no good. Beis Hillel says no, we're not worried. It's okay. But the language of the Mishnah is crucial. Beis Shammai says to Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai says to Beis Hillel, what's the lashon? If this is what you've been doing, the exact lashon that the Gemara quotes. Let's find the other lashon. The Mishnah. Rabbi Shammai says, is this what you've been doing? You've never been yod to the mitzvah of sukkah. If you use this sukkah, to the table outside. Wow. What does that sound like? This is only a sukkah that's pasul mid'Rabbanan. What does that sound like? What does Tosfos say? Tosfos says the last two lines of Tosfos, Kimel and Alf and Sukkah. Lo kiyaptem mitzvah sukkah miyamecha da'afilu mid'oraisa lo kiyem. Wow. According to the Torah law, this is a kosher sukkah. The Rabbanah came along and said, it's not a good sukkah, according to Beis Shammai. And Beis Shammai's lashon is that if you sit in the sukkah, you were not yotzei your mitzvah of sukkah. What do you mean? Midoraisa is a good sukkah. Like probably Rabbanan. Beis Shammai says no. Lo kiyaptem mitzvah sukkah miyamecha. Says Tosfos. The Ran argues. The Ran on that Mishnah, on Daf Chavches, the Ran, if you want to look up the Ran says, no, it means lo kiyaptem mitzvah sukkah miyamecha kara'ui. You haven't done it properly. Lo kiyaptem mitzvah sukkah kara'ui ukirtzon chachamim. You didn't do what the rabbis wanted. But of course, says the Ran, you were yod to the mitzvah of sukkah daraisa level. The Ran can't fathom. But Tosfos says it. Tosfos says the Rabbanan knocked out the kashrus of this sukkah. The Tano.
It doesn't sound like that the sukkah was pasul. It sounds like that he was just sitting in the sukkah in not the proper way. But it wasn't that the sukkah was too small.
If you look, I alluded to it, but if you look at the Gemara there on Daf Gimel, the Gemara says that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are arguing about both. Both a big sukkah that you're sitting at the edge and a small sukkah that you don't even have enough room. They're arguing about both. You can look at that Gemara there on Daf Gimel. But either way, you see from here, hey, look, we have an example of the Rabbanan affecting a daraisa. The Rabbanan knocked out a sukkah kshera, made it into a sukkah psula. And once we have the Seches Sukkah open, actually, let's wait with that one. Is a minchas chinuch. Anybody have a question? Yeah, Rami. Yeah.
So is this a similar concept like when we say like by a marriage, Kidat Moshe Yisrael, that the Rebbeim have the power to nullify the marriage?
So again, there's a parallel. There it's a unique power of the Rabbanan by Kiddushin. Called the Makadesh, Rabbanan Makadesh. So that it is in that realm, but by Kiddushin there's a special power that the Rabbanan have. That's Moshe Yisrael. This is not that. This is not that special power by Kiddushin. But it's about Sukkah Psula. This is one example. Another example. The Minchas Chinuch and other Achronim. In Mitzvah Lamed Aleph, the Minchas Chinuch by the Mitzvah of Kiddush. We know the Rabbanan told us how to make Kiddush on Friday night. We say Asher Kiddushana b'mitzvosa, we make a beautiful bracha and we make Kiddush. Asks the Minchas Chinuch. The rabbis told us what words to use to make Kiddush. What happens if I come home Friday night and I say, Shabbos is awesome. I love Shabbos. I hereby sanctify Shabbos with all my heart. Amen. And I drink the wine. I did not do what the rabbis told me to do. So I at least get the mitzvah of Kiddush D'Oraisa, because I sanctify Shabbos. I said great things about Shabbos. And just be D'Rabbanan, I blew it. I didn't listen to the rabbis. Says the Minchas Chinuch. Look up this Minchas Chinuch if you didn't see it yet. Oz Gimel, beautiful Minchas Chinuch. He says, no. Once the rabbis told you how to do the mitzvah, but if you don't do the mitzvah this way, you're not yotzei. even on a Doraisa level. That's the Minchas Chinuch in Lamed Aleph Gimel. Atoshe Tignu Chazal Hanusach. Kind lahaschil b'shem u'malchus u'b'tzayim. Kula wasakain. Rak Amar Dvar me'atzmo l'malas hayom. Efshar af min ha'torah lo yatsa. It could be that you're not even yotze on a Doraisa level. Right, that is, again, the Minchas Chinuch. And you have the same question by benching. Yerushas Hamazon. Hashem, thanks for the food. And I love Eretz Yisrael. And bris milah is a good idea. I mentioned all the things. Once I didn't do it the way the Rabbanan told me to do it, so maybe it doesn't work. So again, I ask you, are these all exactly the same as the Merkavas HaMishna's suggestion for the Rambam? And therefore, okay, it's fine. It's not the craziest thing. We understand it. The Rabbanan can affect our ISIS. Is it all the same thing, and therefore he's not saying such a great Chiddush? Or is there something different and further about this Merkavas HaMishnah? Yeah, Naftali.
Just a quick question on the Minchas Chinuch. Based off of his the way he explains Birkas Hamazon, would that be proof against those who say that you shouldn't sing Tzur Mishalo before benching?
That's interesting. I think if you don't have kavanah for benching, I don't think you're going to be yotze. Mitzvah strichas kavanah b'daraisa. I think the minhag of Klal Yisrael to sing Tzur Mishalo is okay. But I hear the question. Yeah, Nathaniel.
It sounds like that these are not exactly parallel cases, because by Yerusha, Midoraisa, we have a hierarchy of who goes first, whereas by Kiddush and by benching and by Sukkah, the Midoraisa, we don't actually know, like the Torah doesn't spell out exactly what to do, so the Rabbanan say this is what the Torah meant, whereas by Yerusha, the Torah spells out exactly the order.
Okay, and not just the order, but in terms of who is the one that could be ma'amid by stei achuza. Remember, we're talking about stei achuza. But yes, we're going to go along those lines, but just think about it more, but 100%. There is, we're going to stop now, but there is maybe you tell me, if the following case, which maybe we're not going to do this one yet, is more or less similar. Right, I gave you a Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Chav Gimel. I gave you the first Mishnah in Makos. The first Mishnah in Makos with the Ritva and the Aruch Laner on that Mishnah about Ben Chalutza. The very important Aruch Laner. Can't learn Makos, the first Mishnah, without that Aruch Laner. Right? The Mishnah, the Rashi, the Ritva, and the Aruch Laner. And that is, try to think about all these cases. Are they similar? Again, there's 10 more cases we can talk about that the Rabbanan is affecting Daraisas. What happens if somebody blows shofar on Shabbos? When Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbos? I can't deal with not having shofar. So I blow shofar even though it's Shabbos. Do I get a mitzvah from the Torah and just an Avera Midrabanan? Or do I not even get a mitzvah min Torah? Once the Rabbanan said, don't blow shofar on Shabbos. In the 1850s, this came up because there was a certain Rav that thought, according to the Rambam, that the whole Yerushalayim is called Mikdash, so you should blow. So he blew. So the whole question, did you go listen anyway? Is there any mitzvah? But at least the cases that we brought up, the Sukkah case, and this Sukkah case that we brought up, and the benching case or the Kiddush case, the case on Sukkah Daf Chav Gimel, which is about building a Sukkah on top of an animal, on top of a Gamal, and the Mishnah at the beginning of Makkah. See, think about if all of those are similar or different, and then we're going to get into nafkaminas between whether the Yerushas Habaal is Yerusha or She'er or Zechuyos. Those are the Rambams that I gave. And the last discussion, fascinating, the Mukaras I added on today about Ro'ui, why the Baal does not get Ro'ui. There are two sources in Shas. Basar Kufir Gimel, Abakama Mem Aleph. And the question is, why do we need both? So look at those two sources, and then see the Tosfos there. I wrote down the Art Sameach, and think about what the reasons are, and if She'erus and Yoresh and all of this would work better for one more than the other. That is what we'll hopefully try to finish up the sugya tomorrow. And there's a Tosfos Talmud Rabbeinu Tam, which I gave you also. One of the less known Rishonim on Baba Kama, who has a fascinating suggestion on the Gemara. Yeah, Ellie, have your hand up?